At the end of my street was a milk dairy. Now they sold milk, soda, snacks, ice cream. So every night I would go down there for a little snack. And what I get most of the time was this little plastic dish with a lid, and it had vanilla ice cream in there with chocolate syrup on top. That's all it had. There was no cream or anything or chocolate cherry. So I go down there, and I knew all the girls that worked there. And some of the girls were younger than me, some of the girls were older than me. And I'd always stay in there a few minutes, have some, say some stuff. We'd tell stories, and they would tell me what's going on in the neighborhood. So I go in there one night, and the girl's name was Carolyn. And I knew Carolyn. She went to my high school. She was younger than me. And her husband worked across the street at Charles F. Conley. It's a place that sells, uh, they still do, they sell furnace controls and stuff like that. So he worked over there. And by going at lunchtime, he was able to get her a job there. So she's working there. And I come through the door, I'm talking to her. And she says, my life's really miserable. She says, I keep getting premonitions that I'm going to get robbed. And she says, it's all started since the bridge. There was a bridge near there, Kearney, Belleville, North Arlington line. There's a bridge there. And she says, this is her last night. So I'm like talking to her and everything. She says, on top of that is my grandmother is going to die any minute. So I'm like, holy shit. So I'm staying there talking to her, trying to cheer her up. And in comes this really fat girl. I mean, fat. And I feel so bad how ugly she was. And she's talking to Carolyn, and Carolyn's crying. So I'm thinking that the girl come in to tell Carolyn that her grandmother has passed. So I walk over to say, gee, I'm sorry. And this girl goes, you can go ahead. You can go ahead like that. And I'm like, why? This whole thing doesn't make any sense. So Carolyn backs away and she goes, she's going to kill me. And I'm like, oh, no. So this fat thing, I'll call her a fat thing because she was a fat thing, looks at me. She's got this knife, and I just stood my ground. And then she ran out to the door. Now Carolyn's passed out behind the counter, and I hit the button that goes upstairs to the house. And I get Bill to come down. And I said to Bill, don't touch Carolyn. She's passed out. So Bill calls 911 with his phone, or with the phone, and he hands it to me. And he's trying to get Carolyn up, conscious. So anyway, I call in, and 911. And I said, we just had an attempted robbery here, and I'm telling her where. She goes, hold on. Now she hooks in the detective of North Arlington into the call. He's got a box of some sort. So he goes, hi, this is North Arlington detective. I said, yeah, I'm a North Arlington resident. Someone just tried to rob the dairy, and he knows where the dairy is. And he goes, can you describe her? I said, yeah, she's really fat and ugly. I said, basically to describe her, her mother and father were brother and sister. That's all I said. And Bill's looking at me, but that's what, to me, that's what she looked like. She looked like she was inbred, and she was big. She was as big as me. But anyway, after the thing, I opened the door and looked back out, and she was gone. And I'm like, that fat thing couldn't have moved that quick. So all this is in my head. I'm talking to the detective, and they say we'll be right down there. So they're down there, and they played the other people are playing this callback where I said that she looked like her mother and father were brother and sister. Everybody's laughing. We're standing in the dairy laughing, and Carolyn's just revived, and the guy goes, he pulls out the picture of her, and I go, first thing I said was, what woman in the world would they have her picture taken, put their head back so their chin comes out? And the cop, everybody's laughing except Carolyn. She's passed out. She's still crying because someone pulled a knife on her. And the guy, the detective, says to me, when you said her mother and father were brother and sister, he went to the filing cabinet, opened it up, pulled this picture out. I go, that's her. And then Carolyn saw the picture. She passed out again. All right. And this was hilarious. All right. Here's how I'll sort of tell you how it ended up. They would not call me as a witness. They called me a hostile witness because I was so nasty. But I described this girl to a T. Now, what's really bad was while me and the detectives were all standing there in the dairy laughing at the fact that when she had her picture taken, she put her. Women know to pull their head forward so their neck doesn't. Well, anyway, she went backwards, and the guy says, man, as soon as you made that description, it was like perfect. And we're all laughing. All of a sudden, the call comes in. She's now robbing another place at knife point. And she had someone with her, because that's what I had said. I said, that fat fucker got out of here so fast that she had to be, someone else had to be with her to get in the car. Yeah, because I was trying to check stuff. I'm trying to talk on the intercom up to the house. And Billy comes down. He hands me the phone. I'm like, so then afterwards, I'm like, you know, and they were all going to me, you really shouldn't describe anybody like that. No, that's exactly what she looked like. She was big, she was fat, she was ugly, and that's it. So I used to get these notices. She got arrested many more times after that, and they didn't know. Her lawyer, after hearing the 911 call, didn't want me 911 call anywhere near the courthouse. I had a thing where it says, "Don't even come and watch the trial." That's it. But hey, it's not socially acceptable to say someone's fat and ugly and their mother and father and brother and mother and father or brother, uh, mother and father or brother and sister. You're not supposed to talk like that. But that's how I was thinking. You know, I got Carolyn down on the floor. She's told me she had a premonition she was going to be robbed. This is her last night. Think about all the stuff running through my head. I got all my own issues, you know, and I'm thinking about my. In my hand, I got my sundae, you know, the vanilla chocolate with the black syrup on it. It's melting, and I'm wondering, do I have to go up to the police station? And he goes, yeah, you have to come up. You have to. And he goes, then she robbed another place. He goes, nah. He says, we'll use their description. We know who it is. And they went up with the picture. And they showed the picture to the next place that got robbed, and they're like, "Yeah, that's her." And, you know, it's like having Mo, Larry, or Curly rob you, and you can describe them really good. It's a caricature, and it was funny. So then the next day, everybody's like, "How did you break the robbery up?" I said, "Well, she kept asking me to go ahead, but I didn't want to go ahead." And then Carolyn, she had her hand around Carolyn's back, like she was comforting her about her grandmother dying, but her grandmother didn't die then. See, in my mind, oh, that's someone of the relatives came to tell Carolyn that her grandmother's dead. No, she came to put her hand around her and put a knife to her neck. And I can't see it and I'm right behind her. And she kept wanting me to go ahead so she could rob the place. But meanwhile, I'm going to stay and bullshit with Carolyn because I'm never going to see her ever again. And it's so funny. And everybody's, oh, John stood his ground. I said, no, this is like going to a pile. You walk in there just being innocent and doing what you're doing, and then you accidentally get in someone else's way that's trying to rob the place. But they're like, no, most people wouldn't have done that. Most people, I said, and then they said, we heard your description. Everybody's laughing. Hey, your description was like really good. I said, yeah. I said, as soon as I went over to 911, they have a squawk box or whatever up in the detectives bureau. He says, as soon as he heard it, he went right to the filing cabinet and pulled her picture out. He comes down, he's laughing. He goes, man, he goes, you described her to a T. And she was out on bail, and her mother used her house as collateral. And she went on for 3 or 4 more robberies after that. She kept getting bailed out of the mother kept bailing her out, and then she kept getting robbed. But she was a drug addict. But it was her mother and father were brother and sister. That because they look inbred. You know, that's what I describe it. She could have been German like me in English, but she had that look. You know, like you know, the DNA didn't fall that far from the tree type of thing. But that was one of the funnier things. And people go, "Does this stuff?" I said, "This stuff happens to me all the time." You know, and everybody's always told me, "You should write a book." Now I've done booklets and plans, CNC plans. I did the booklet for the crank organ, and I did 2 articles for magazines. I have a bunch of stuff I did do. And then when the internet first started, I had a lot of different articles up there as text files explaining to people how to put like a second hard drive in the computer. Because I tried doing it, and there's a couple tricks on certain motherboards. So you got these wise ass, all I did was plug it right in and it worked. Well, not all BIOSes on the computers can automatically see a second hard drive and then add it in. And most of the people that were on the internet that I knew, we had the cheap motherboard. We didn't have the real good one. where the wise ass always had the better computer. Oh, all I did was, plug it in and it worked. There was cable changes. There were jumpers that you had to do. You also, I won't go into that, but there were people that they had. Someone sold them an AT hard drive with an AT with an. They had an XT and someone sold them an AT and a hard drive with the card. And someone says, "Call this guy up. He can." I could actually use what the hell was the name of the program? There was a program built into debug. I knew how to use all of these DOS utilities, and I could actually check the hard drive and see if the zero track home track was good, and I knew how to do that. So I'm on the phone with this woman, and we're doing this. I'm telling her to do that, and she says, "You're like the fifth guy." I said, "I'll get it. You watch this." I said, "When you look at the card," she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Are any of the finger that plugs in?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Is there one that's sticking down and it's not in anything?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "You have an XT motherboard?" "Yeah, I do." I said, They gave you an AT controller and an AT, well, not an AT, they gave her an AT controller." She goes, "You're kidding." I said, "No." So she called up the other guy, the expert, and he goes, "Oh shit, really? Yeah, that's fine." Then she went over to his house and he gave her an XT card, and she got it working. She called me back over. She goes, "Nobody could find that." I said, "They didn't want to find it." After about 10 minutes of trying stuff, people give up. I didn't give up because people were giving me hard drives. And I'll tell you, an ST251 was, I think it was a 40 megabyte. Yeah. And Stuttgart, ST, Seagate, ST251. It had a stick-on problem. So you turn the computer on one day, and it won't spin up. That's because the head is stuck to the platter. So what you do is you turn it off. You heat the whole hard drive up with a hair dryer, really warm, and then turn it on, and it'll break free and it'll work fine. And I can't tell you how many times I fixed that over the phone for somebody. And the people promised to send me money and they never did. But I just want to tell you, the last one, the video I told you about saving somebody's life, I did that more than once. I won't go into all of them. My favorite program was Amazing Stories. And someone says, "I know why." They've seen when one of them happened, like the Norma coming out, and that's no way to ask a girl out. I used to laugh hysterically because after a while, that's all you can do is laugh when something goes wrong. And it was always something really stupid that went wrong. It's like, here's a real quick bad one. We used to get really flooded bad in Fairfield, New Jersey. That's where TRW Board Repair was. And you would go out to the right, and that whole street would be flooded. And I go out, and there's my friend. He's in the middle, and he's stuck. And he needs to be pushed out. So I take my good sneakers off, and I go walking out into the water. And I'm afraid of a manhole cover that's moved. I go out there, I get up to him, and it's not him. It's not him. It's the same car, brand new, like my friend's, but it's not him. And I felt I was getting soaked. I just said, "Guy, I really can't help you." And I turned around and went back in. I drive in the car home with my feet soaking wet. But these are the little things that happen to you, you know. And the way the guy was standing in the car and all that, I couldn't see his face. It wasn't my coworker. It was somebody else. And he was stuck good. He went. See, I saw the water when I made the turn. I stopped the car, and then I thought it was this friend of mine. And when I took my sneakers off, and I walked in there, and realized it wasn't him. But there were certain things I don't go driving through standing water. Turn around or you will drown. Turn around or you will drown. They said that on the radio here. I go, "No, you go ahead and you'll be dead." I think that's it. All right, that's it.